Welcome to The Explainer. I am so incredibly thrilled you're here today because we are jumping straight into a topic that is just this fascinating blend of ancient history, modern internet culture, and the psychology of self-belief. We're going to be exploring the symbols hidden right there on your very own palms. We're going to decode the hype, dig into the history, and figure out what these lines actually mean. Let's get right into it.
I want to get interactive right out of the gate, so I want you to literally hold your hands up to the screen right now. Seriously, take a really close look. Do you see a distinct M shape right smack in the center of your palm? Or maybe, just below your pinky finger, is there a curved line that looks kind of like a crescent moon? Take a second and look, because if you've got either of these, you are actually at the center of a massive cultural conversation right now.
If you've scrolled through social media lately, you've probably seen these intense, highly viral videos talking about these specific marks. They frame them as signs that you're this magical, otherworldly chosen one. We're talking videos with millions of views claiming things like, you are not 100% human, or that you're a spiritual healer burdened with light. Basically, they claim these marks are literal proof of a higher spiritual lineage and this completely unique destiny. It's dramatic, it's super captivating, and honestly, the idea is spreading like wildfire.
But before we get totally swept up in the modern internet hype, let's take a step back. Section 1. Ancient Roots of Palmistry.
First things first, we need to define what palmistry, or chiromancy as it's historically known, actually is. It's the art of characterization and foretelling the future through studying the palm. The really crucial thing to understand here is that traditionally it was less about making these magical prophecies and much more about an ancient framework used to categorize human tendencies. Think of it kind of like an early personality test, way before modern psychology even existed.
And this incredible journey goes way, way back. We're talking nearly 5,000 years ago in India, where the Hindu sage Valmiki wrote these foundational teachings on palmistry. By 3000 BC, the practice had reached China, and throughout antiquity it just exploded, spreading across Tibet, Egypt, Persia, Greece, and eventually Europe. So our human obsession with the lines on our hands? Absolutely not a new phenomenon.
To give you an idea of just how seriously the ancients took this, it wasn't some simple parlor trick. Legend actually has it that the philosopher Aristotle passed his knowledge of palmistry directly to Alexander the Great, and Alexander reportedly used it to judge the character of his men. He would literally select his military officers and generals based on the lines on their hands. Just a wildly fascinating piece of history.
Okay, let's dive into the anatomy of these things. Section 2. Decoding the M mark.
Look at your palm once more. That M isn't just a random squiggle. It's a highly specific formation, created when four major intersecting lines perfectly converge. You need a clear heart line, headline, lifeline, and fate line, all crossing in just the exact right way across the center of your palm to spell out that distinct letter shape.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the rarity. Human brains are wired to find patterns, right? So you might see faint intersections or partial shapes on a lot of hands, but a perfectly clear, unbroken M formation? That is genuinely rare. Palmistry researchers estimated distinct M only shows up on roughly 1 to 3% of hands.
But wait, which hand is it actually on? Traditional palmists read these marks very differently depending on where they show up. As a general rule, your non-dominant hand, the one you don't write with, represents your inherent traits. It's the raw material you were born with. Your dominant hand, however, represents who you have actively become over time through your life choices. So having that M on your active dominant hand, that implies you've intentionally developed these traits yourself. So what exactly are those grounded traits? Well, traditionally, the M signifies incredibly strong intuition, high self-motivation, and some serious discipline. It's known as the mark of a natural entrepreneurial spirit. Older texts even claim it makes you an excellent judge of character, meaning you're the kind of person who can spot a lie from a mile away. Essentially, it's considered a marker for balanced judgment and vitality.
All right, let's shift gears and look at the second major mark. Section 3, the crescent moon revealed.
Direct your attention over to the outer edge of your hand, just below your pinky finger. The crescent moon is formed by a really pronounced, specific curve of the heart line. It usually sits right near the percussion edge, resting over what palmists call the mount of moon, which is that fleshy pad right across from your thumb.
The meanings behind this crescent moon are deeply fascinating. It's all about heightened emotional sensitivity and profound empathy. If you have this mark, tradition says you're incredibly intuitive. You're picking up on the emotional vibes of a room the second you walk in.
It also points to fierce independence, strong self-confidence, and a huge potential for creative success driven by a really rich inner life.
Now here is where things take a pretty wild turn. Section 4, the chosen one tropes.
Just check out this quote pulled straight from viral internet communities. The M plus crescent moon align. Your soul begins closing old chapters for you. You are a silent leader. You see, modern YouTube mystics view the combination of these marks as way more than just personality traits. They see it as an undeniable soul contract, an inner code awakening. The implication here is that the universe is actively rearranging reality just for you. These communities literally map out specific phases of an awakening that marked individuals supposedly go through. They claim your intuition stops whispering and becomes instant. They talk about experiencing a timeline separation where you naturally detach from old friends and environments. They even say you'll be thrust into unintentional leadership roles and that you possess the literal ability to heal other people with your energetic frequency. It is a highly dramatic, almost cinematic interpretation of human empathy and ambition.
So how do we make sense of all this? Let's bring it all down to earth. Section 5, myth versus reality.
It is absolutely crucial to separate the supernatural from the psychological here. The myth says that a crescent moon guarantees you have magical psychic abilities. But the reality? Having these line formations simply points to a really high capacity for emotional intelligence. In modern psychology, we might categorize this as sensory processing sensitivity. You're just highly attuned to micro-expressions and the emotional cues of people around you. It's empathy, not telepathy.
And the exact same thing applies to the M. The myth is that having this mark means you are absolutely destined for guaranteed wealth, no matter what. The grounded reality is that the M represents an intersection of balanced logic, emotional awareness, and vitality. Are those traits that can absolutely support business success? For sure. But they aren't a magical winning lottery ticket. You still have to put in the actual work.
To put that into perspective, let's look at some real-world case studies that show the danger of confusing myth with reality. Take Ken. He used his M mark as a prompt for self-reflection, kept his day job, steadily built up his skills, and eventually launched a really successful consulting firm. Now look at Jenna. She saw her crescent moon, completely bought into the psychic hype, quit her job with absolutely zero plan, and ended up struggling terribly. And then there's David. He had the M, but was so rigidly skeptical he wouldn't even use it as a tool for self-reflection, completely missing a chance to work on his poor decision-making skills. Context and action are everything.
So, if you shouldn't use your palm to blindly predict your future, what should you do with it? Here is a practical, step-by-step checklist. First off, just observe your hands without jumping to conclusions. Second, research multiple traditions. The meanings actually vary quite a bit. Third, and most importantly, ask yourself reflective questions. Does this trait actually resonate with my life? Fourth, track changes over time because, believe it or not, your palm lines actually do shift. And finally, combine whatever insights you gain with deliberate real-world action. Think of palmistry as a mirror for self-insight, rather than some fixed map you're forced to follow.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. I want you to look down at your hands one last time, right now, and ask yourself a question. Are these marks a magical map dictating your predetermined destiny, or are they simply a brilliant, ancient mirror reflecting your own untapped potential right back at you? The lines on our hands might be fascinating footnotes, but at the end of the day, you are the one holding the pen. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey today, and keep exploring.